We are live. We are going to rock and we are going to ink on this live stream. So this is Thibert, 35-year comic book veteran of this wacky comics industry, working mainly for Marvel and DC, and helped a little upstart company called Image Comics way back when. So I am coming to you live where I will be sharing some old rock and roll with you, which is from the early 80s, garage band, I guess nightclub band that I used to play in. And I'm going to be inking and drawing for you guys. So, art, don't mod trolls. Yes, I will not. I will not. I've learned my lesson. Usually I learn it the hard way. But I have a few friends coming in, and they are going to help me. I'm going to mod them because I know who they are, and they will help me. Because I'm not going to be able to watch the chat the whole time, so I have a few friends coming in, and I'm going to mod them, give them a wrench, and see if we can get this show going without any hatred. Did you have anything you wanted to add? My wife's here. People have been calling. People are so kind. Some friends have been calling, and they were like, how hateful that what just happened, and all kinds of nonsense, that was happening in the chat. In a nutshell, if there's anybody new coming in, somebody in the chat was writing some really, really, by saying offensive, that's not even doing it justice. Some horrible, horrible things. And so, thank you, D Geek Art, for the super chat. I really appreciate it. So, did you want to add something, Pamela? This is my wife.
Oh. I'm just shocked at the kind of anger that a person would have to have. It's sad. It made me sad that you guys are having fun, and somebody comes in with hate. I don't get it.
Yeah, I don't know. I've never been wired this way, so I cannot relate to this at all. I don't know who these people are or why they do these things. Hey, Edwin. Edwin's here. Aloha, my brother.
So is Elizabeth.
Where's Elizabeth?
The geek.
The geek is Elizabeth? Oh, I didn't know that.
I think. Hang on.
Well, I'm not going to mod unless I know who D Geek Art. I think it is. So let me click this, and I'm going to add Edwin as a moderator. So Edwin is now a moderator. So he has a wrench, and let me see if... I think it is, but I just want to be sure after being burned. So I should have D Geek Art and Edwin policing the chat and hopefully shutting down anybody with hateful things. Thank you so much, Edwin. Thank you so much, man. She is. Okay, yes. So Elizabeth, D Geek Art, I'm going to give you a wrench as well. So... you guys feel free. Pablo is too. Hey Pablo, in the chat, let me know if you would like a wrench, and I'll give you a wrench. There's power in numbers, safety in numbers, and then I'll continue the show once I feel we have it semi-secure. My gosh, I'm actually shaking. I haven't experienced anything this confrontative in a while. When I was younger, it would happen quite a bit, but I was not even close to being prepared for this. So if anybody is listening that was writing those hateful things, I have reported you, and I will do everything I can in my power to shut you down. So there's that. So... yeah, just to get back on track, I do have a band that I used to play with. They were called Nocturnal Night. I think it was in 1982, and I used to be a metalhead. And so with that band, we would play some of the nightclubs, and we played Orange County, and we played around. And in bands in general, we played some of the local, amusement parks, Knott's Berry Farm, if you're local. And, okay, so D Geek Art's in the chat. It's rough. People find it funny to do things for shock value. Well, that was pretty shocking. And you know why I hate this stuff? Is because it gives people a reason not to trust other people. and that's the biggest crime in this, is that if somebody says, I'm afraid because people say hateful things, and then somebody like this, like a situation like this happens within this chat, and then you realize, there are some hateful people out there, and they do just get off on destroying and being very, very negative. So John De La Rosa is here. Aloha, Albino Thunderbuns. I know who you are. My wife loves your name. So it looks like we're getting some power and some police officers here in the chat. So I think I'm just going to delay a little bit more until I feel secure about this. And then I'm going to play you guys a face melting metal song that me and a couple of my other rock buddies did in '82, and then I'm going to start inking for you live. So let me go to my OBS and show you what is on my desk. So I'm going to, you can see I started working on this, so there's some structure lines that I've thrown down. So I'm going to be inking this and putting this together for you guys live as we talk, as long as we don't get derailed with hateful stuff. I apologize, you guys. I was pretty dumbfounded when that happened, when the hate stuff started happening in the chat. So I apologize. I think I dealt with it pretty good, except for giving a bad person a wrench. What can I say? I'm a very trusting person. So let's go back. Check the chat. See where we're at here. Okay. So we have D Geek Art. Glad everyone came back. Haters do that on every YouTube channel. Yeah, probably right, Robert, but this is the first time it's happened to me. So, Sweet Ben, looking forward to hearing some of your rock tunes. Yeah. Just to back up, I said it on the other chat that I had to pull down, or live stream I had to pull down because of the hate. Yeah, you guys, you guys wanted it. That's why I'm doing this. So a friend sent me this link a couple months back and said, you were in this band, right? This Nocturnal Night band. And I was like, yeah. And so he said, it's up on SoundCloud. And so you guys, I don't know how this got up there. I don't know who found this recording. I don't know anything about this. But it's up there, and it sounds pretty decent. We never went into the recording studio. I've been in the recording studio, but not with Nocturnal Night. So this had to have been some practice session that we were doing, and somehow this recording got out. So like I said, I don't know how it did, but it did. So if you guys want to get your faces melted with some really bad metal, I'm going to do it for you guys. So hold on. I click this. I go over to screen share. Wait, you know what I should have done? Here we go. I'll do this right. Okay, we'll go over to OBS. I'll hit screen share. Boom. And so I go here. And you guys should be seeing the SoundCloud page now. Okay, so without further ado, I am going to play some Nocturnal Night stuff. So this is my band. We were a little bit more than a garage band. We played clubs and stuff in LA and Orange County. So this is Nocturnal Night from 1982. I was probably 18, maybe 19. Here we go. Wait for it. Here it comes. comes. Woo! All right, so this is the next verse. Let's get into the bridge. Here's the bridge. Going into the solo. All right, let's cut to the ending here. It's a 5-minute song, you guys. So that was it, man. That was it. So that's me on the drums, and I think his name was Dwayne Thibert on vocals, and Steve. It was always Steve or Troy. He went by both. James. It was the James brothers, so it was Troy and Steve, and they were on bass and guitar. And in the early '80s. Late 70s, early 80s, it was hard to find shredders like that. That guy was a shredder on guitar, and that was very, very rare. So we were a bit popular with the power of the bass and drums, and then with that shredder on guitar. Yeah, it was a pretty lethal combo. And so, yeah, we rocked for a couple years, playing around town, and met a lot of interesting people along the way. If you don't know, Steve James or Troy James, whatever he goes by these days, he wrote that song "Hit the Lights" for Metallica. So he wrote that song. He used to play with Metallica in the day. So he's been on Mandatory Metallica and told his story. Actually, one of my recordings is the only version of that song that exists. Ours was called "Running Low." So we did the song after, because he didn't know Metallica was going to be anything. So when he quit that band and we formed Nocturnal Night, we played that same song since he had written it for Metallica. And so when he came over, we did the same song. Dwayne just rewrote the lyrics, and we played it a little bit slower than Metallica. Metallica plays it faster, but if you listen, there's a pickup beat and there's some drum rolls in there, and Lars plays them identical to the way I played them in the actual recorded version. So that's my little metal claim to fame there. So either Troy or Steve, I'm not sure what he goes by these days. James is the one that wrote that, and I believe he's credited now on, because I think they used that song on Garage Days. So when he confronted Metallica, they didn't pay him for it, but they said that every time it's released, that song it's in a compilation or whatever they do with it, he will get full credit for the song. So he'll get credit but no money. So anyway, it's kind of an obscure Metallica song anyway. It's called "Hit the Lights." Ours was "Running Low," and I have all that stuff on tape, like reel-to-reel tape, and I need to find somebody who can put that onto, burn it onto a disc or a digital file so I can play it for you guys, because that would be awesome. So yeah, I played in a couple bands early on, and so just about the time that metal band was falling apart, I was taking off into doing comics. So I started getting more work as an artist. So I think I kept playing music maybe a couple years after. But, comic books and artwork started paying the bills more than the music, so that's where I went. You got to go where the money's at. So, hey, Arthur Brown, how are you? Dang, Art, I was like 2 in '83. Yeah, I'm an old man. So, hey, Sketch Therapy, make sure you don't accidentally show your stream key. I don't even know what the hell that is. So, I will try not to do that. Shinto Ketchup, Hit the Lights was on. Oh, it was on Kill 'Em All. Okay. Wow, so that's a legit album. I thought it was on Garage Days. Is that you singing? No, that is not me singing. I don't have the lungs for that. I used to sing backup. That's as far as I'd go. Art played legit venues back in the day. Yeah, Troubadour Whiskey. Gazzari's. I don't think Gazzari's is there anymore. There was some Orange County clubs called, what was it called? Radio City. And then there was one called the Woodstock. And I think Radio City, I was just kind of getting out of the music scene, but that's where No Doubt kind of came up the ranks because they were an Orange County band. So a lot of the bands that we were playing in the nightclubs with, believe it or not, the generation slightly before us, but not even like just by a few years, was Oingo Boingo and the Chili Peppers and a lot of those type bands, the Motels, Missing Persons. You know, they were the bands that were just around that time, but they were already moving on with contracts and, you know, legitimacy. As far as that's concerned, okay, so did you and Greg try jamming? You know, Greg Sheldon Martin, yeah, so Greg Capullo used to play guitar over the phone, and I used to play some drum licks over the phone, and so we'd kind of jam for each other in the day. This was probably early 90s, mid 90s. And yeah, Greg is a really, really accomplished guitar player, and Greg used to go, you know, with the band I'm in right now, we do songs like Dream Theater, you know, because that's a really impressive band, and the drummer Mike Portnoy is frickin' amazing. So every chance I get, I go see Mike play live. And so if you don't know, he's playing. There's a band he plays. It's called Winery Dogs, and they're pretty good. So he always does a drum solo too, so it's pretty darn cool. I think it's that third line that says copy. Can you see this? Wait a minute. The third line that says copy. Why is this showing up? I don't even know why that's showing up. Do enable DVI. I don't know why this is showing up. How do I get rid of it? This is new because this wasn't here before. So do I just slide this? You know what, you guys, I don't know how, but you know what? I'm just going to go to the camera, and hopefully you won't see that anymore. So here's headshot, photo. Where the hell is it? There you go. It's the first one. Okay. Oh, I wanted to share this with you guys too. This happened live before I had to pull down the last stream. This is Rob Willis. This is a Shinobi Sasquatch page, and I think on EVS's live stream we were doing the auction, and I think Rob Willis was saying that he was giving pages away, or he gave Ethan a page or something like that. So I just said, man, you know, that would be cool if somebody gave me a piece of original artwork like that. And so the amazing Matthew Fowler sent this Rob Willis page from Shinobi Sasquatch to me. So this is an actual 11 by 17 on the board Rob Willis page. So thank you so much, Matthew. You know, things get kind of bad sometimes, but when things happen like this, you just realize, hey man, life is pretty damn good. I'm talking to you guys for the most part. You're all decent human beings. And I got a piece of killer Rob Willis artwork here from Shinobi Sasquatch. And I don't know quite what this is, but this might be Matthew Fowler's book, or a book that he's promoting. So this looks like a a Matthew Weldon cover here. Let me hold it up closer. So that's pretty cool. And then there's the prospectors here. So there's a mailing list there, if you guys can see that. Retrographics books. So check that stuff out. So I'm not sure if Matthew's an artist or a writer, or if just he's a good Samaritan or a publisher. I'm not sure. So if anybody in the chat can let me know more about Matthew. So that's very cool. Thank you so much, Matthew. That was beyond generous. It's very, very cool. And these ink lines are amazing. I think he was saying that he inks this with a marker pen. Like he doesn't use brushes or a crow quill. So this is pretty tight. So very, very cool. So this has been one of those days where you have the good and bad happen back to back. So let me see here. I load my brush up here, so I'm going to ink some more structure lines here. I usually start with structure. Let me see if I can find my rhythm again. And like I said in the other chat before and you guys were so rudely interrupted, I like to ink these commissions a little raw, a little loose, so not quite as tight as my Marvel DC stuff or even my black and white stuff. So I usually ink the structure first, and then I come in with details, and then I'll lay down my gray tones, my ink wash. So I'm a little shaken, but I'm going to try to make up for some lost time here and get back on track. Thanks to all my mods for having my back. The only way this was going to be possible is with your help, so thank you. Because I did not want to go back live unprotected without anybody watching my back. So thank you, D Geek Art, and thank you so much, Edwin, for having my back. So yeah, this brush is pretty full, so I gotta be careful with it. So I wasn't really that familiar with this character, but I do remember her from George Perez's run on the Avengers. So I don't know if she originally showed up there or if she was created prior to that. But that's the first time I remember ever seeing the character. So I posted the pencils up on my Instagram. So if you want to get a better look at the pencils, they're not that tight and they're a little sketchy, but they're up there for you to see. So yeah, I'll ink a little bit longer, and then I'll go check you guys out in the chat and see what's going on. Get caught up. And feel free to ask me any questions, so when I come back, I'll have something to say to you. It really helps to get feedback, not the negative feedback I got about an hour ago, but some feedback. So yeah, I was talking earlier as well about the way the commissions list works. So I don't open up to commissions very often, especially now, like recently, because of all the creator-owned projects I'm doing. but I do every once in a while. So I opened it maybe 2 weeks ago, and I got inundated within like the first, I don't know, half hour. I had to close it because there was just too much. So if you want to get a commission, the best thing I can say is go and sign up for my newsletter. And what I do is usually 2 to 3 times a month. I haven't been doing it as much recently. Is I'll update the newsletter and let you guys know what's going on. And so usually the newsletter is the first. Actually, it's always the first that will know when my commissions list opens up. So if you guys want to get a commission, please sign up for the newsletter, and that way would be the best way to get a commission if that's what you guys want. And I would like to do more of these, but there's not that much time in the day to do everything. But I do like drawing for you guys. It's a lot of fun. So yeah. So I'm starting to get my rhythm now. Doing some big strokes with confidence. This I don't want to really finish up too well. I want the sash to kind of fade off there. And so sometimes I'll rotate the page because it just helps me get my brush or pin into the right position. So I know it's a little disorienting for you guys to see, but it's the only way I can do it. So I got her hip done. Let's continue on her sash here. Sash-a-frash. And yeah, once again, I apologize if there's a lot of sound. I'm running the air conditioner because it's rather hot here right now. That came out pretty cool. So I've indicated with some of these little ghost lines here, these little thin lines. And so this is going to be, I usually don't do that, put a holding line for my wash. But I thought maybe it would look cool stylistically to do that on this piece. So I'm always trying to do different things to break it up and give me some something new to do, something a little different. So I went over the line a little bit here. So let me do this. So I want this to be a little textured, so I'm going in with more of a dry brush look here. And so a lot of my blacks, my solid blacks, will have this kind of dry brush. So sometimes I'll even throw a little bit of extra ink off so I can get a dry brush look. And so then, I can come in and try to do some dry brush here to kind of give it a little bit of texture. Like I said, I can do more organic stuff for you guys than I can for Marvel and DC. They usually want me to work relatively tight and clean. And so I like working both ways with it. And let me finish my folds here. Little line here. Here's one of those little ink line holding areas that I was telling you about. Let's bring this side piece in, little hatches there. Let's do some costume details. Little fold here. Yeah, if you guys don't know and you've backed Black and White, oh my gosh, this week has been epic working with the printers. I had no idea there was this much to formatting pages and getting all that stuff to a printer, but it's quite a daunting task. And apparently I found out that the DC template that I was putting all the pages on from the get-go was, I don't know if it's the wrong size, but it's definitely not the size that the printer I'm working with is using. And so I talked to a few other people and they said that yeah, it's wider than it is tall, so the DC pages are a little taller than they are wide. So my crops and some of those things they weren't lining up with the printer's template. So Taylor and I spent the whole week trying to figure all that stuff out and get it all worked out. So it still isn't really worked out. It's kind of worked out, I guess, but it's not done. So the letterer on Black and White, his name is Jeff Eckelberry, and he's brilliant. He was so cool, and he just said, send it to me, and I'll put it on their templates and everything. And he's got a way to do that that would have required me or Taylor or both of us to basically redraw a bunch of artwork, because we would have to manufacture the side pieces where the trim is for the new template, so everything would fit. So he worked out a way to do that. I'm not sure how he's going to do it, and on some level I don't want to know, because I'm sure it's a lot of work and I feel really bad if I knew everything that he's doing right now. But he's thinking it'll be done over the weekend, and knowing Jeff, it'll be done sometime tomorrow. And I talked to the printer, and they are open over the weekend, so then they can set up the presses and start printing Black and White books probably by, I don't know, Sunday, Monday. At least they'll have everything. So I don't have even an ETA yet on how long it's going to take them to print the book, but it's getting done, you guys. It's close. It is so darn close. And so I have that going on, and also I'm working with Render Contender, Narwhal, and well, I'm working with Jeff too on the lettering for Chrono. I'm working with Render Contender, Narwhal, Jeff, and my wife on Chrono Mechanics Retrofit. So we're about, I think Narwhal has 4 or 5 pages fully colored. I think 2 of those I still need to send him notes for. And I have the cover being colored by the great Sean Ellery. So he's got all the backgrounds in, he's got the flats on the I think he just needs to do the detail on the figures, on the mechanics. And if you want to see what the cover, or at least some of the work in progress aspects of the cover, there's a video that I have, I think it's two or 3 videos back, that have me working on the cover. So there's that. So Chrono is moving along. I wish I didn't have to spend all week working with the printer, but these are the little things that most people don't realize when they're self-published, and I kind of know, but I didn't think it was going to be this arduous to figure all that stuff out. And also, I don't know why the heck DC is using those templates if they're not if they're not correct. So anybody out there that works for DC, if you can answer that question, I would love to hear an explanation. Because man, I was so frustrated the last couple days because it would have required basically redrawing the edges of the pages. So I apologize again for spinning the page as much as I am. But this is one of those weird pieces that I'm looking more forward to doing the logo, like typeface stuff here than actually the figure itself. Oh, I think I want a little dry. I want some dryness here. It's a little too dry. Get some more ink. See if I can build this back up. All right, here we go. Let's see if this bad boy worked. I have the microphone closer to my face on the board here too, so I hope that helps. I know sometimes I tend to mumble when I'm working. It's because I'm concentrating. I know I make this look easy, guys, but sometimes it's not so easy. You can always tell in Drawn and Quartered when those guys, when they really want it bad, because that chat or the show goes quiet. Everybody's really focusing and concentrating because they want to do good work. So I think, other than the hair, we're pretty much hard-lined in. So after this, I will finish up my blacks and do my hatching, and then I'll go into my ink wash. So thanks everyone for hanging. Let me see how the chat's doing. I think I've been neglecting you guys because I don't want any bad news. It's so hot. If you guys work in the heat, you want to rinse your brush quite a bit because it will get really dry and the ink will get all hard in there. Okay, so I go here. Do I go here? Yes. Okay, so the chat looks like Albino. Is Jeff a professional digital press guy? If so, do you mind providing contact info? He's on social media. I think he's Twitter. So Albino Thunderbuns, if you want, just look up Jeff Eckleberry. It's spelled exactly the way it sounds. So let me go back a little bit. Sketch therapy. Sorry to interrupt the flow, but I thought it pertinent to warn you, sir. Dope. This kid's Matthew Fowler is people's champ. From the looks of it, yeah. So Kevin, I backed a page following EVS's auction. Oh, cool, Kevin. Yeah, those auctions are a blast. I think Mike's doing one tonight, and if I can get my S together, I may go on as well. Sheldon Martin, shaken but not stirred. Yeah, a little shaken. Test. I don't know what that means. Albino sounds about right. Art. I don't remember Hellcat appearing before that Avengers run. Oh, so I'm right. That's cool. Thank you, Albino. I like to be right. Pablo Romero art. I didn't know if it's my monitor or if the light, but sometimes the ink looks with a red tone? Really? Is anybody else in the chat? Does it look red to you? That's odd. I mean, I can get more light in here, but let me see. I can open up the shades a little bit and see if that helps. The sun's going on the other side of the house right now, So I hope that helped. I can't really turn on my overhead lights because it'll just blast the detail out altogether. So Arthur Brown, the Uncanny Kodiak. You got a wrench, man. You watch my back. Some crazies out there. Hellcat is a fictional superhero appearing in American comic books published by Marvel Comics. Yeah. She premiered as the star of a teen romantic comedy series and has later integrated into Marvel's superhero franchise such as Avengers and Defenders. Romantic teen. Well, that must be more recent because the George Perez run is where I remember her. So Sheldon Martin, Art, are doing any special Halloween streams like last year with scary real life stories. Oh my gosh, if you guys didn't hear that, maybe I'll retell that story because I don't think a lot of people were really interested in anything I had to say back then. So maybe I've built up the channel a little bit more since then. But I actually had a encounter with what is his name? Vernon Butts. He was the accomplice to the Freeway Strangler, I believe, here in LA. So he also killed a few himself before he hung himself in his jail cell. So I will tell that story this Halloween. So thank you, Sheldon. So Sheldon goes way back with my YouTube channel. So thank you, Sheldon, for hanging. So sketch therapy, I had a bad experience with commission. Guy took 300 last July, but didn't deliver till a month or two ago. Wow. Then tried to mute me on. No. See, that's a good thing when you go to, I don't know. I was gonna get all braggy, people like myself, but I heard that even some people, God, what was it? Somebody was saying that a Bill Sienkiewicz commission took him like years to get. So I have never went that long. It's usually within a few months, sometimes longer. And this stuff will be a little longer. So if anybody's listening, just because I'm trying to get the Chrono campaign going, but it's usually within a few months that I can get this stuff done. Because I usually don't, I try not to overbook myself. So that's also why I book up so quickly. So Ray Alciovedo, awesome. Yeah, wait till I get the wash in there. Nighthawk Warrior, kind of dark there. So is the camera dark? I can try. Well, let me see. I can try turning on some light. Let's see what that looks like. I turned on one of my working lamps. It looks good on the camera, you guys. So, Nighthawk Warrior Hellcat is Jessica Jones. Oh, really? Oh, okay. So, they used her for the TV show. Okay, so, D Geek Art, aware of the key. I'm glad you shared the info, though. It's good to keep an eye on. Pablo Romero, it looks fine now. Oh, cool. Nighthawk Warrior, sure, tell us about it. Shinto Ketchup. It cracks me up every time. I would like to hear the story. I don't know. Maybe I'll wait till we get closer to Halloween. Also, I just realized I was going through some artwork. When I was on Drawn and Quartered, there was a couple Halloween drawing shows I was on. So I didn't sell those pieces. So I have a Freddy Krueger like bust. Actually, it's more from like the waist up. Like a 3/4 shot. And I think I have a, what is his name? Skeletor with the hood on. And I think that's more of like a headshot. So I'm going to start working again. Arthur Brown, the Uncanny Kodiak. Did something to happen on the stream? What happened? Oh, I'll tell you. And I'll give you the heads up too, since you have a wrench and I know that you got my back. You're a good guy. I did this stream earlier, maybe 45 minutes, an hour ago now. And some jerk was writing some crazy hateful stuff in the chat. Crazy hateful. So I was reporting it and deleting it as it was going. But that guy was militant, man. He was all gung-ho. and I could not keep up with it and was disrupting the show, and I had no mods in place at the time, so I couldn't really control it, so I just shut down the whole stream. So this is kind of stream 2, and I'm calling this one Rockin' and Inkin' Live. And also, Arthur Brown, if you hadn't heard earlier, I was playing some of the bands I was with or in the early 80s. So I had just got an update. Somebody sent me the link. It's on SoundCloud. So I'll play that again for anybody that's coming in the stream late and let you hear what my drums sounded like in 82. And 82, that was just before I started working professionally, because I think I started working, I was working as an illustrator shortly after that, so I was doing illustration, but I think my comic stuff started early 83 when I was working with Jim Valentino, and then by 84 I was full on working for DC Comics. Maybe end of 83, early 84. So Pablo says, hi Michael. So Michael Beacon says, Beacon, as someone working with Pablo on a comic, I can verify he works fast. Oh, you guys have some stuff going in the chat. Cool. All right, so let me see. How do I do? Okay. So you guys can see the stuff in the chat. Let me see here. If I go back to OBS. All right, so here we go. Got my brush cleaned off again. So we're gonna finish up the hair, and hopefully you guys aren't bored yet, because we still have the metal song of the century that will melt your faces off. Well, I don't know if it'll melt your faces off. I'm trying to hard sell, man. I'm trying to be cool. I'm so uncool. I used to be cool. Or at least I thought I was cool. Cool, every generation, it's a sliding scale, right? So, what was cool at one time is not cool now. Sadly. Okay, so let me go little hairline there. I got some hatches here. Little highlight glint there. I don't want to do hatches yet. Well, I do want to do the hatches yet, but I want to keep it focused and get all my structure stuff up. Some people ink or draw like from a side to a side, and they just do everything all at one time. I can't do that. I have to be kind of methodical. I have to do all of one thing and then all of another. And it's usually structure first. I think because I feel if you can get the structure right, then everything else will fall into place. So like I said earlier as well, I like to work looser for these commissions, and I'm so grateful that people, you guys that are hired me to do commissions, usually, well, not usually, always really like the stuff. So every time I open my commissions list, I'm always really happy that you guys are there and want me to draw for you. So and when you guys are inking, sometimes don't be afraid not to follow the pencil line 100% unless it's structural, but sometimes it can interrupt your flow. So you want that rhythm and you want that flow to be there. Sometimes that movement and that flow is more important. Well, not more important, but it is very important to have in place. Because if you can make your ink line sing and you can make it move, and it's got some attitude and some rhythm to it, then the artwork itself becomes less stagnant and more interesting and action packed. So you can see there's quite a bit of movement in my hand. So that's kind of what you want to get in there. So let me finish this up here. So we got all that in. I'm just looking over to make sure there's harmony in my line weights, which there looks like there is so far. So now I am going to do my hatches. So there's not a lot of hatching on this piece. I wanted it mostly to be just blacks and like black areas, open areas, and then ink wash. So yeah, inking, I like inking with a brush. It's very kind of liberating because the brush doesn't it doesn't always want to behave, so sometimes it has a bit of a mind of its own, but I kind of like that because it forces you to be spontaneous and go with the flow a little bit. So, and the brush is a way more versatile tool than even a nib, and both are way more versatile than like a marker pen or I don't know. I call them markers, but I guess they're pins. I said marker on Ethan's channel, and I feel like maybe he took it as like I was demeaning, or that it was the tool. Like if you say it's a marker, it's kind of demeaning, but I don't mean it in that term. It's just what I call a pin. Because to me, let me show you. This is a crow quill pen, so this is what I refer to as a pen, and this is what I refer to as a marker. But this is a type of pen, I guess. So apples, oranges, I don't know. So I hope he didn't, because I didn't mean it that way, because I think what the context was is Ethan was showing his cover for Vampirilla, Cyberfrog, and the ink lines are so good, and it was the 11 by 17, so he was holding it up. It was the auction, and he was holding it up to close to the camera, and the lines look so awesome. So I was basically giving him kudos and saying that's amazing, because I can't really do that kind of work with a marker or a pen, that type of pen. So he does some pretty fantastic stuff with that tool. And it's whatever gets the job done, and whatever you're comfortable with, and whatever looks the best for you. That's the important part. As long as the end, product looks amazing, that's all you have to worry about. So I don't get too hung up on that stuff. I'm not too much of an ink snob. The only ink snobbery that I get into is I really don't like rapidographs. I think rapidographs are pretty soulless tools. They're good for if you're going to use templates, like circle templates and things like that. But you can use a marker, or like one of those Copic markers, or or Pigma markers to do the same thing. And also those rapidographs are very temperamental tools, man. You got to keep those clean, and those things are a pain in the butt. They were a necessary evil in the day, but I never liked them. Never, ever. And they're very expensive tools. So doing all my hatch work here. Gonna do some stylized hatch work there, just to give a little bit of depth. So I think I have everything structured. So all I have left is the face and head and neck. And then we get to do the logo. Okay. So I'm going to do a little crosshatch fade out and then continue it here. So you can kind of see that I'm not following the pencil lines 100%. And the reason why is my trajectory changed right here. So to match this trajectory all the way over, I had to change it slightly. So that's where I was kind of telling you guys, don't always get too hung up on the penciled line when it's hatching or things that really need to flow, like hair and stuff like that. But faces, muscles, exterior structures, you want to keep those pretty right on. All right, so this is coming along. We are coming along. Man, this mask looks kind of simple, and it's drawn a lot of different ways from a lot of different people. But it wasn't until I started thinking about it very stylized with the nose and everything and just the shape of it that I realized you gotta make it stylized, because it doesn't really fit the face, and it's kind of a shape unto itself, but it doesn't necessarily fit like the face perfectly. So we have that. I want to darken this up a little bit. All right, let's do the logo right now. The typeface. The hell. I think what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna do this interior line really thick with the brush, and then the outside one I may do with just a Sharpie, because I think I want more of a uniformed line around it. And I want more of a thick organic texture for the inside of it. And I could do it with a pin, not with a pin, with the brush, this outside line all the way around. But it actually looks better with a marker. And I will show you. And then you guys can do it at home. Man, if I had YouTube shows and things like that when I was a kid, learning how to draw and do comic books, man, I would have flipped out. I would have spent every hour watching YouTube. I still wish I could, because there's so much good stuff on there. Mike Miller draws. Ethan doesn't as much anymore, but he used to. Mitch Brotweiser's doing a lot of drawing now. Elliot Fernandez is always drawing. That's crazy. That guy he's like the perfect hybrid of an entertainer and artist to me. Because that guy can work and talk like nobody's business, man. I don't know how the heck he does it. He's a double threat, man. He's a double threat. All right, so then the A and that, the interior of this. Get a little bit more ink on my brush. So I'm almost done with the brush structure stuff. And then I'm going to rinse this brush off and then get ready for the ink wash. But before I take my little marker to this, I'm going to check the chat. Let you guys check out what I did. Do I want to move this up or down? Let's move it down a little bit. Hopefully you can see that good. Ooh. Hope that's seen a master inker like art and EVS work on paper. It will encourage people to do traditional inking. Yeah, I'm not really opposed to digital. It just, I would have to retrain myself, and I think that's why I don't do it. A friend of mine bought me Cintiq or whatever that, Wacom, whatever those things are, and I just don't have the downtime to learn or to reteach myself some things. So I do use Photoshop, and I draw or augment in Photoshop, but I don't really use it to draw per se. Okay, so Nighthawk Warrior drawing is life. Well, it is my life. That's for darn sure, Nighthawk Warrior. So Arthur Brown, the Uncanny Kodiak. Did you ever work with a writer that didn't use traditional scripts but was good at storytelling? Well, I've worked from what they call the Marvel breakdowns or Marvel scripts, and they don't have dialogue, and they're just really, really loose. Sometimes it's just a paragraph that will explain the page. It might just say this, and this happens in 6 panels. So then you kind of put it all together. DC mostly works from full scripts with dialogue and everything. And I think I talked to Mike Miller about this. Mike likes full scripts. I don't like full scripts because it always forces you to do the right-left rule. So if you work with a writer that doesn't understand the left-right rule, everything starts from the left and works over to the right, because that's how we read things. But when you put, like, let's say it's a dialogue page, and you have, every time you do another shot, you have to position that character to be on the left that speaks first. So the person that speaks first always has to be on the left. The person that speaks next is in the middle, and then if there's another person, like there's 3 people in the conversation, then that third person has to be on the far right, usually as a rule because of the left-right rule. And I find that very very daunting to lay things out. And if you have a writer that doesn't really understand that and visualize it, sometimes the right will be talking first, and it just becomes a mess, a layout mess. So I kind of like the loose breakdowns more than I like full script. Pablo Romero art. I used to buy some cheap brushes, but they started to drop in quality. Well, even good brushes will do that, but if you take fairly good care of them, they should last quite a bit of time. And also depends on how much you use them. If I use a brush a lot, I'll wear those suckers out, man. I literally will wear them out. The brushes, the bristles themselves will just be worn. And sometimes what happens is, when I mean worn, I mean the tip and all the bristles will kind of be, like, because of all the movement, they'll be worn off. And then what happens, and this is why you have to take care of your brushes, the ink will collect right here. And if the ink collects too much right here, it'll make the brush fan out like this. It won't hold a tip, it'll fan out. So you always want to make sure you clean the ink from here as much as possible. The end will always clean easy, but this part right here is the hard part. So that's really where you want to focus and clean, or spend your the majority of your time cleaning. So Slick Rick, I think it takes more than that to offend. I hope. I hope. Yeah, I do too. But I'm. I don't know. I just don't want to hurt anybody's feelings ever. So albino thunderbuns. I've heard many inkers curse for pictographs. Copic multiliners and micron pins seem to be popular replacement choice. Yeah, they're still a little bit. They're still a little bit rigid and less. I call a micron soulless. It's kind of a soulless pin because it's a technical pin. It's supposed to just put down a fairly consistent line. So there's not a lot of variations in the line unless you draw them in. But just by pressure, it doesn't really change shape. But with a pin like a micron or a Copic or Copic multiliner, they will a little bit. There's these ones, I don't have them here, but God, let me. Oh, these are the Copics, I think. I think that's what these are. They've been worn off. I do have some, but there's oh, it's these Fiber Castle. These things are awesome. I like these. I don't know if it's let me see if it's permanent ink. Knowing my luck, it's probably not. It does not say. It just says artistic pen, black. Does it say it's waterproof? There's a lot of foreign woods here that I don't understand. But let's see. Let's flip this over and see if it's probably all dried out now. But it's kind of a brush pen, so you can vary pressure on it. So I kind of like it. The tip's worn out, so it's not going to be really thin. But this is pretty cool. And let me see these Sharpies. Yeah, these are pretty cool. This is, well, it's a little too thin. This is what I was going to say. I could outline that that logo or the typeface with, but it's a little too thin. But you can see there's a little bit of variation to the line, and you can build. So I kind of like, you can see like the little dot and it gets thicker there. So this actually has a little bit of flexibility, so you can get some rhythm and flow to it. Let me see what else I have in the drawer here. I have a lot of microns. I don't know why. I think this is one of those micron. This is kind of a hybrid brush. Actually, I just found my pen. This is what I'll outline. The Hellcat. It's a little thick though. Wait a minute. Yeah, it might be too thick. Let me see what else I have here. Nope, that's not it. This is what I was going to use, just a Sharpie. Let me see. I think I have a micron that is thicker that might do the trick. Yeah, here it is. So let's see what we have here so you guys can still see this. All right. Let's test it out. Yeah, always test. Oh, it's perfect. So this is between this line weight and the other ones, the other micron. So this should be perfect. So I like these pins because I can move them very rhythmically. See, and it still has, for the most part, a fairly consistent line. So I wanted this to be a little bit more consistent than the other lines. It just, I don't know why, it just kind of looks cool. I've done this before. And also it's just a lot faster. And the microns are waterproof because I'm going to put an ink wash over all of this. So then you can see how it comes together. I kind of like to do these letters and stuff. I just think it looks graphically pretty cool. and it gives the people that commission me to do it a little bit more bang for the buck. Sometimes I'll add a little bit of like an abstract background to these as well, but I don't want to get too literal with background because it can take away from the figure. And really what they want to see is they want to see the figure. So this pin is actually pretty kick ace. So you can see how fast you can move with it. And sometimes, not always, but sometimes you want to move your ink fast because it'll give you some energy and some life. And once I finish this up, in the chat, you guys let me know if you're on board for me to do the ink wash. If not, I'll kill the stream and play you a metal song that will melt your face as an outro. So let me know now if you want me to continue and finish this, because I know it's going a little long and we all have a limited amount of time to check this stuff out. And this is not like some edited videos where it's all time-lapsed. This is real time, baby. This is live. So you can also see I'm not adhering completely to the penciled line because I want it to move and be expressive. So what I'm going to start doing here is I'm going to start breaking up the line a little bit, because I want it to kind of feel like it's fading out. So you kind of do these dot dash ideas, and they make it look like it's fading out. So it's kind of cool. I like it. Alright, let's do this side. As soon as I'm done here, I'll check and see if you guys want me to do the ink wash. Hopefully, yay, because it gets lonely in the studio all by myself. So start bringing that broken line in soon. Start it here, 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 a little bit here, a little bit more there, dot, 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 little line, boom. All right, so let me check it real quick and make sure that it's all there, which it looks like. Let me put my cap on. So let me go to the chat, see if you guys want me to continue. This is the show, guys. This is as good as it gets. All right, so should I continue? Let me see, albino, art, buy some cheap business, or brushes. Okay, so that's where I left. It takes more. Okay, where are we at? Wow's the comics, sing art. No. I like microns, yeah. So Slick Rick, I mean, they're not bad tools. They don't smudge with alcohol markers over the top. Yeah, I was thinking, when everybody was doing the marker for gray tones and stuff, for some reason I felt like I wanted to be different. So instead I started doing ink wash. I like it, it looks more organic, and I think I just wanted to do something different. And I realized, especially when I go to cons, ink wash is pretty messy, and it's kind of hard to control. So it's just an extra little added bonus. But I believe, for my taste, it looks cool. Not necessarily looks better, but it looks cool. Yeah. So, Um, okay, let me go here. Sing art, no. Keep it going. It's great. Yes. So I got one thumbs up from Kevin. Thank you, Kevin. So Argo's Creations. Want to watch you do the wash? Hell yeah, Slick Rick. We got another one. Okay, love to see it. Okay, this is good. This is giving me confidence to move forward. Albino Thunderbuns, I'd like to see the piece finished. And then get my face melted off. Please and thank you. You got it, man. So, you guys are so awesome. Thank you. This makes my day, especially after the way the last one started. Okay, Pablo Romero, art. I want to watch the ink wash. Okay, the pressure's on now. Shinto Ketchup. Wait for the song. Do it. Yes. Do it. Do it. Do it. All right. My brush is kind of clean. So this gets a little... you got to be careful. What I usually do with the ink wash is I'll build it slowly. So I'll show you kind of what I do. I have this, which I should not be holding over the artwork, by the way, because it has some wet stuff. So I'll put a little ink in here, and then, I don't know if you can see this, but there's water in here, and I'll just dab it, and then I'll kind of mix it here. So I'll find my tones. So everything's kind of mixed as far as the tones. So, you know, because you want to start light and then go into darker. And I'll show you kind of what I mean on this. This is an actual drawing. So this is kind of what I consider, this is kind of a medium light. So this is a good starting point. So I already indicated, you can probably already see a little bit of gray. That's from the pencil. So I just wanted to make sure that that's where my grays were going to be, because you don't, when you work with ink, you don't want to make a mistake because it's permanent and there's not much you can do to fix it. So what I'm going to do is start painting in my gray tones here. I got my glasses on, take my glasses off. I actually can't see a thing with them on to draw. Alright, so I kind of want, if you can see where my dark line ended, I want the hell cat part to be, the letters to be a little darker. And I want them to fade down. So I'm kind of putting my, I guess this will probably be my lightest value for just the lettering. And then I want it to kind of fade off, which it will do. And I'll show you. And the thing about watercolor or wash, you have to kind of work fast, especially in the heat that we're having right now, because if it dries, sometimes it won't blend very well. So sometimes a little wetter is better. Okay, so I got those values in. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to drag some of this out. So I'm blending it a little bit. And I kind of want it to fade. How I broke these lines up here, I want this gray to fade as well. And you can already see what's happening. See how the ink is kind of pulling up there? Sometimes the watercolor or the ink won't stay put. So sometimes it's better to work upside down so you can keep that ink there. Or at the very least, keep it in mind that it has a tendency to do that, because you don't want it to pull up here and dry, because it'll kill your fade. So there's that. So now I'm adding a little bit more water because I don't want this to be too dark. I want to start fading it, but you can see how it's pulling up right here. So we don't want that. So I kind of work it back up. Because I don't want it to pull up there. Okay, so get a little bit more here. Also, you guys, when you do wash like this, always, where's mine? Always have something that you can kind of blot if you have too much, because sometimes you'll put too much down on the board and you can blot that stuff off as well. So you can see I'm not being too precious with it. I'm not, you know, I'm not being too controlled with it. And so I'm easing it down into pretty much nothing. So let me add some more water to this and bring it down. See, I just did. So that was in her hair. So when it's wet, you can get it. You can take care of it quicker and without too much of it showing. So then this is going to be very, very light, like it was here. So I kind of have the whole thing in place. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to get some more ink, like heavy ink, and I'm going to mix it into that water that I showed you earlier, because I'm going to go back into this, and this might be, no, it's not. Man, I'm on today. This might actually be too light. So I'm going to go in and I'm going to build in a fade. So I have my lightest and my dark. Well, I have my middle and I have my light. So now I want to bring, that's too much. I want to bring more dark in here. So I'm going to do this so you can see. It's upside down. I don't think, let me see here. That's too much. I'm kind of mixing off to the side. You can't really see me, but I'm trying to, that's a little too dark, but I can lighten it up with some water. I'm going to bring some of this over into these. And you want to kind of work all around and back and forth, because like I said, you don't really want it to dry in any one place. So I still want this to be darker. So I'm going to go back in. And also what you can do is you can let a lot of this dry, and then you can build over this. Actually, that's what's cool about this, is you can build this up after it dries. So it looks like I need a little bit more black. Let's go here, here. Okay, so the interesting part is there's a lot of ink down. So when I do this, it's going to drip down, but I need to do this because I need to work on my fade here. So I'm going to go kind of back over some of this stuff. So it has somewhat of a fade. So that's kind of it in a nutshell. Like I said, you can see, I don't know if you can see the the ink moving back up. But I'll keep my eye on that. And because I think I need this to be a little, let me see here. Actually, you know what? I have a nice tone here. I'm going to bring it in through the figure. I'm going to do a little bit of other stuff here. Just because I have a good tone in my palette and I want to use it while I have it. Because if I add more water to it, then it won't be the same as it is now. So I come in and I kind of exaggerate some of my stuff here. Sometimes I'll add like a hatch with it. I bring a little shadow in here and a little shadow right here, and then kind of bring in a little bit of darkness in the lip. And so I had some darks I wanted to do there. I'm not using that paper towel. I'm using my finger. So I want this to fade out a little bit. So I cleaned off the brush, and so I'm kind of taking stuff off because I don't want it to be as dark. So there's that. Let's go back on the logo. Actually, other than this little trouble area here, it looks pretty good. Yeah, actually it's drying good. Yeah, so you kind of got to move your eye, you know, throughout the piece and make sure that the wash doesn't get away from you. And I don't want this to be very dark, because this is a light part of her costume. I think it's yellow, so I want to keep it open. And this is the shadow I was telling you, one of the shadows I was telling you guys about. So I also want this one to fade into a dark, because usually shadows are lighter as they go away and they're darker as they go to the source, which is her head, her face. So this right here, it's a little dark, so I lightened it up. So then here, I think this is going to be dark, yeah. I'll paint this in here, in this glove here. And I want the fingers to kind of fade into a black. So we have that. This is a little, I kind of like it though, but it's a little too dark. That little tin sound is me quickly washing my brush out. Okay, so I'm gonna probably do more with the hands, but I want to put my shadows kind of like with the outlines. I like to see things. I like to see the whole picture as it comes together. So if I spend too much time in one area, then sometimes I can lose the big picture. So this is going to be a shadow that's cast from her arms down. So I want a light to dark because the light source is coming in this way. That's why it's high lit here and the shadow's over here. And there's a lit area right in here. So, and this shadow is on her forearm. Actually, I didn't ink this line. On her forearm, or this part of her arm, like her elbow area here. So I'm going to make this pretty dark, but I'm going to make sure I get this shadow in place first. So this shadow kind of has to match that shadow in intensity. So, you know, like I said, I want it to kind of be like it's going light to dark in this direction. So I'll put down the heavier ink, and then I'll go back in and kind of create a light to dark. And so now I don't know if you can see my hand. I'm basically doing this and then taking the excess off with my fingers. It's just faster. I don't know if it's proper. And so I want this pretty heavy, and then I want the shadow in here. But I don't want this one to be as heavy, because I kind of, how this fades off, I also want my shadows to fade off there. So I wanted a shadow here, but not very heavy. So I'm lightening that up. All right, I hope you guys can see the gray tones that are coming in, if it's translating over. So then, like I said, I'm going to come back in and do some detail, but this is more fine detail on the hands. So I want to, like I said, I wanted to make do the broad stroke stuff, and make sure that the rhythm of the whole piece was working. Okay, so where is that towel I told you about? Okay, my fingers are all, well, they're actually pretty clean, considering. And I'm not going to do anything to the hair. I'm going to keep the hair open. I actually thought with myself whether to put like a red wash in there. Sometimes that looks cool, but I ruled it out. So let me see here. Let's do a little wash in there. And the only thing is I want to build this up, and I might want to build this shadow over here up a little bit. And then I just thought of something cool to do. Do some little stylized things. Let me see. Oh, I didn't ink those either. Maybe an extra light fold in there. This is looking pretty done. Okay. If you dab the center, sometimes it'll leave a ring. I kind of like those water rings. I kind of like it stylistically. So I think this is dried enough. So I'm going to come back in here and build up a shadow. Let me see. Oh, geez, that's too much. So let's diminish some of this. That's kind of cool. So maybe I can put some more dark in here. So, actually, that was kind of cool. Okay. And then, ooh, this might look really cool. Let me see. We can maybe hint at a little lip. Oh, shoot. Yeah, sometimes water will attract water. So you gotta be careful. That was too wet. So let me see if I can do this. Like cast a shadow from her cowl. And then maybe a little bit more at the nose there. Ooh, that looks cool. And maybe a little bit more on the lip. It's coming together. So this is where you can be a little bolder once you get your stuff, your tones in. I might go back on the tips of the logos, and then that might be it. I don't know, it's a little light still. Let me see what I can do here. But I do believe the figure is done. So like I told you, once the stuff dries, you can go over it and it actually will darken up really nice. Get the top of the C in there, top of the A, and the T. So I'm going to flip it around just so we can see it, but then I'm going to have to move it back because it's going to drip. But look at that. It's pretty cool. So I'm going to keep it upside down for a while, make sure that that ink stays there. But you know what? I think I'm going to wrap this up, and I'm going to let all this dry, and then I'm probably going to go back over it. I just don't want to mess this up because there's a lot of wet ink, and I want to let some of this dry before I go back over it. Make sure my fades are still pretty decent, which they are. And guys, get ready for some rock. All right, so I can't keep this like this too long because you can see it's dripping already, but this is pretty much done. What I'm going to do after the chat, after the stream's over, I'm probably going to darken this up around her to make her pop more, because I can see it's a little too light, and I don't, let me flip this back over so my ink goes back up. So, yeah, like I said, I want to make sure it dries, and also you guys have been very, very kind hanging out with me this whole time. So, you know what? I know what I'll do is I'll flip this over, I'll let it dry, and then I'll give you the rock and the roll. And then I'll come back and give you guys a final look at the art. So let me see in the chat, what do we got? Albino still here, Sheldon Martin still here. We got Aaron, a tactical paper towel. Yes, you always need those. Gravity, yeah. It's weird. Also, my drawing board is pretty angled. There's one thing about, like, if you're a pencil or inker like I am, the drawing board, when you pencil, you want it more up and down, like straight up and down, because you don't want to see the image distorted this way. You want to see it as much this way as possible, because if it's this way, it becomes distorted, and it's hard to get your proportions right when you're looking at it in perspective this way. So the straighter up a drawing board is when you're drawing, the better. When you're inking, though, it's not good for your back, but you kind of want to hunch over it and you want to look straight down at it. So that's because it's kind of gravity fed. A lot of the ink is all pushed down by gravity. So you kind of, and you want to see it accurately. You want to see the line accurately, and the only way you can do that is kind of look straight down at it. So that's kind of what you want to do when you're inking. So what I do is I have this. I'll show it to you. this light box. I'm gonna turn it on and blast your eyes. Ah! So I have this light box, and what I do when I'm penciling, I don't always use the light box, but I'll put it on my lap and lean it up against the board. You guys can't see this, but that's what I do. So I lean it up against the board and then have it at my waist, and then it's more, the image is more straight up and down, so I can pencil that way. And I do like that. I do like that a lot. Okay, so Sheldon, I think Scott Williams did the inking on X-Men 1. Yes, he did. He sure did. And I think I came in on issue 5 of X-Men. And then I finished my run with issue 12. No, issue 13. So I penciled and inked issue 12 and 13 after Jim Lee left. So there's a little tidbit. Ink wash can be colored digitally. What? I did a couple of drawings some years ago. Oh, they have a like a watercolor digital program. That would be cool. You can see camel toe there. Well, I don't know. I don't think so. There's hatching there. It might look on the camera like that, but I assure you, it wasn't drawn. Yeah, Scott Williams is cool. He is still an inspiration of mine. Arthur Brown, have to teach myself to draw hair like that. Yeah, I like drawing hair, so it's not a task. Yowza Comics, is your desk at an angle or flat? This desk is pretty. It's kind of an in between, straight up and down and flat. So the way the desk is now, it's I don't know if you can see the plane, but it's about like this. So like I said, when I pencil, I like it more straight up and down, but I can't really adjust this. This is, you guys can't see this, but this is a solid piece of glass. Man, it is heavy, and it doesn't really maneuver that well. Oh, D. Geekart is still lurking. She's a police officer in the chat, so obey her. She has the authority. D Geekart, is everybody behaving themselves? Because I haven't been watching too much. So just say yes if they have. She'll slap your knuckles with a ruler. So rock, yeah, we're gonna rock soon. A great work, Art. It's a pleasure to see a master at work. Thank you, Kevin. Thank you, Pablo. We are going to rock. So let me see. Let's do this. How do I do this? I go over here, and then I hit screen share. I believe I can fly. Screen share, boom. Let's go here. Let's go here. Let's go here. I believe you guys are seeing the SoundCloud right now. So here we go, man. Your faces are gonna get blasted. All right, wait. Okay, here we go. I gotta start this over. All right, boom, face is blasted. Are you gonna start? Are you gonna start? Are you gonna start? Oh, it's buffering. It is buffering. So this is the band I was in '82. Called Nocturnal Night. We were kind of a metal band, but we weren't like Metallica hit. Like, we were more like Scorpions. Well, I don't know. It was pretty shreddy. But our kind of mission statement was Scorpions. You know what? There was some shreddy stuff, more metal, like Iron Maiden, things like that. Oh my gosh. What the hey-ha is going on here? Are you going to play? Oh, it's still buffering. What can I do? I can't sing, I can't dance. What am I going to do? What am I going to do while I'm waiting for this to buffer? After all that setup. Oh, wait. What just happened there? Are you guys still seeing this? I hope so. I'm going to go back to the chat and see what's going on. There's my web camera. All right. So yeah, it's still buffering. It sounded like Rush. Yeah, I mean, there's some Rush in there too. I think anything that was pretty hard. Yeah, so D Geek is still in the chat, keeping it real, keeping you guys on your best behavior. Arthur Brown as well. He's got a wrench. Any hanky panky, you guys, shut him down. Refresh the. Oh, okay. I will refresh the page. Thank you. Okay, so I'm going to go over to this and refresh as well. Ooh. So let me see what you guys are seeing now. You guys are not seeing what you need to see. So let's go screen share. Boom, boom, boom. This should be it. Okay, so this is the next verse. Let's go to the solo. Here's the bridge. It's just a little bit of echo on his voice. Here it comes. Then it goes into the verse, chorus again, and then ending here. I have no idea what he's saying, other than we're cruising for a bad reaction. I think that's what he's saying. The link is in the chat. If you guys want to hear that song again and mock me, that's fine. Just remember I was like 18, 19, something like that when that was going down. So that's a band from 82 that I was in. So we had a little bit of success. So it was fun. It kept me, I don't know, I want to say it kept me out of trouble, but it probably got me into a lot of trouble. So we have an error receiving, so we're experiencing some buffer on YouTube as well. So let me go back real. Oh, we got Comic Book Bob here. Hey, Comic Book Bob. We got Jeremy in here. Yells at Comics. So what is Jeremy? You rockin' hard. Yeah, that's me on the drums. Thank you. Thank you, Jeremy. Comic Book Bob. I was looking around for where that music was coming from. LOL. Yeah. Nice build-up intro. Yeah, I like the intro too. I think it's the best part of the song. That's heavier than Scorpions. Yeah, it is heavier than Scorpions. I was kind of... I just love the Scorpions. I love UFO as well from the time. And that's a little bit more melodic. Yeah, that's a little bit more... Like, Nocturnal Night was more... kind of... It was straightforward metal. So I was wrong there. Kevin... put that link in the description. Yeah, it is in the description. You should remaster it. If you run through the right filters, you can sizzle. Yeah, I don't know. I don't even know who posted this. I don't know how they got a hold of the. I just got a Facebook Messenger message, and it just said, "Hey, check this out. I think this is your old band." So it was Slick Rick. That guy singing. I thought it was a girl. Yeah, he's got a little bit of a high voice. I think at the time, like high voices were pretty popular. I've kind of grown out of that sound. I like stuff like Tool. I like Maynard's voice. I like the more mellow voices now. Face melting hath been served. Thank you, Sheldon. Arthur Brown could jam that. Very cool. Wait, you're in your 50s? Not so old as people make it out to be. Well, thank you. I would have bought a Nocturnal cassette. Oh, well, thank you, Albino. That's cool. Kevin thinks it's cool. All right, well, I should wrap this up now. I think I said I was going to come back and show you the piece, and then I will bid you adieu. So how do I do this? I go to the webcam. So we're webcamming. Hopefully you guys are seeing this, because I'm still not 100% sure of what I'm doing. I don't see it up yet. Okay. It should be up. Huh, takes a while. Huh. Well, anyway, hopefully you can see this is the finished product, the Hellcat image. I'm going into erase mode. Why is this not showing? I'm in webcam. Oh, there it is. Wow, you talk about a delay. Sweet mama jamma. So all my ink's dry, so now I can go in and erase and clean up a little bit. So thank you guys so much. It's been a blast. Little drama earlier, but we got through it. And thanks to all. And I forget, was it D Geek Art or somebody sent me a super chat? So thank you for that. That was in the last chat that I had to shut down. So thank you for the super chat. And if you guys don't know, I have a new book. It's called Chrono Mechanics, and it will be out probably next month. It will go live. However, in the meantime, we have a pre-launch page for Chrono Mechanics, and if you go there and you sign up, you will have access to all kinds of cool exclusives, possibly some freebies. We're still putting all that together now, and probably the beginning of next week, I will be posting some new artwork up there. Artwork that will actually be for this new campaign. The stuff that's up there now is a little old, but I just wanted to get something up to you know, a place where you guys could go where you could sign up and see that this cool new project is coming out. So, like I said, we have Chrono coming out probably next month. The pre-launch page is there, so please sign up. And Black and White should be going to the printers within the next couple of days. I am hoping, because this whole week was just a bunch of crazy drama trying to get everything print ready for you guys. So that's everything, I believe. So I need to go back to this, to the chat, and end the stream. So thank you guys. Have a great day. Thank you, D. Geekart, for policing the chat. Thank you, Arthur Brown, the Uncanny Kodiak, for policing as well. And thank you, Edwin Boyette, for coming in early and policing this chat to make sure no hanky-panky would happen, so I could give you guys some entertainment and draw and play some music for you. So thanks again, guys. It's been a blast. Have a good one. And have a great weekend, too.